Up next, it is the cannabis industry's longest continuously operating retailer, known as White Gucci in Detroit, known as Gucci Blanco down at Mar-a-Lago. And you know what? He is going hard for his man in the paint, Donald J. Trump. Indicated person number one, individual one. What do you got for us today, Jason Beck? You got some heavy news coming from a
Oh,
perspective, or what?
no, I do have some heavy news that affects a number of people in the cannabis space today, because everyone likes to get paid and everyone loves payroll, because there's been an exit of Paychex and a headache for hundreds of operators. Human resources titan Paychex, NASDAQ PAYX, essentially announced its exit from the legal cannabis industry via email sent last week to its marijuana company clients that used it for payroll and other services, leaving potentially hundreds of operators in the lurch. According to an email, a copy of which was obtained by Green Market Report, Paychex told cannabis clients that it would be drastically scaling back its services to the point that is tantamount to an exit. Two industry insiders said. Paychex wrote, "Unfortunately, we can no longer provide you with some of the services you are currently receiving from Paychex." The pullback could affect an upwards of 300 cannabis businesses across the country, said Chris Lagana, a New York-based marijuana industry consultant and former executive, excuse me, executive at cannabis payroll firm Work. He said Paychex's footprint dates back roughly 4 years. Lagana said Paychex had already begun scaling back its footprint in January when it notified clients that it would be purchasing out its tax pay service for marijuana businesses, and the most recent announcement basically completed Paychex withdrawal from the cannabis sector altogether. The Paychex notification said that as of May 1st, it would cease offering not only tax pay services, but also direct deposit payroll services and record keeping for employees' time and attendance as part of a transition. The company will provide check signing services, for instance, but it did not have much of an exit plan laid out for its cannabis clients, Laguna said. San Francisco-based tax attorney Regina Ugovalewski said Paychex was one of the top service providers in payroll and HR for cannabis companies, primarily because most national firms such as ADP still won't touch marijuana clients. That means Paychex's withdrawal is definitely pain in the ass level for cannabis operators, she said. It's not the end all be all, but it is like switching your insurance. It's just a lot of paperwork involved on the back end. Urgorowski said it's just a difficult scenario to be put in. Unagvoski warned that cannabis companies should be careful to whom they switch from Paychex, because errors in payroll can trigger federal audits, and nobody in cannabis should want to face down the Internal Revenue Service over a payroll tax error. Laguna said she's also convinced that Paychex's marijuana exit is connected to the failure of last month's of Silicon Valley Bank, which he described as a cannabis-friendly bank when it came to ancillary businesses such as payroll providers like Paychex. And Paychex did not have banking relationships with SVB, and says, "I do not think that's any secret, and I know they moved most of their cannabis companies through SVB," he said. The most likely explanation for Paychex pivot, Laguna said, is company leadership simply decided cannabis was one more risk it didn't need after the SVB went under. Laguna also noted that for a company the size of Paychex, with a $40 billion market cap and $1.3 billion in revenue last quarter alone, the likely millions it gets from the marijuana sector represent a small drop in the bucket. It's also a reminder that the marijuana business stigma still exists thanks to federal prohibition, Laguna said. And in a quote, it just goes to show you that cannabis companies are still very underserved, Laguna said. Laguna said cannabis operators in need of a replacement for Paychex should check out this former company Work or Kaya Push and Paragon Payroll if you are in need of services. Well, I'll tell you what, I got one of these emails and I saw it and I was like, what the hell are these people talking about? But we'll see what happens. And this is Jason Beck reporting for High at 9 News. What do you guys think about this Paychex pulling out? Is their pullout game strong or is it weak?